Welcome back, everyone, to 1 Minute Recess, where we're diving into everything Nevada politics, U.S. politics, federal, international, you name it, we're going to talk about it today. My name's Annette Magnus.
And I'm Maria Teresa. And boy, was this another crazy week.
What a roller coaster. What a wild ride. Even today has been a wild ride. We're filming on Tuesday, July 14th. What has transpired in the past week since we filmed last, Maria? So let's get right to it. We've had some Death Watch happen. We got an unexpected one. We've had Joe Lombardo get pulled over. We've had all kinds of crazy stuff. So let's dive right in. But first, let's go to the rundown. What is the internet saying this week?
Yeah, the internet has quite a few things to say. Y'all really had a lot to say about the Nugget conversation that we said.
That was like 2 weeks ago. Did they say anything? Before we even jump into that, did they say anything about the data centers, which was the question we posed to them multiple times last week?
No. The internet doesn't pay attention to what actually matters, isn't it?
Well, if you care about data centers and you want to give us your opinion, we're still looking for your opinion, everyone.
Let us know. Literally, let us fucking know. We've asked you. And you were
we're like soliciting your feedback. We want to know what you think about data centers. Give us your feedback. Give us your thoughts, your comments, your concerns. Instead, you want to talk about the Nugget. Go ahead.
But first, we'll start with Matt. Matt Wilkie agrees that and says, I'm sick of seeing Lombardo ads absolutely everywhere. And we still have until November for this. We really should and need to limit political ads, in my opinion.
Okay. Good thought.
Good.
Political
good
money,
thought.
political ads.
So much.
I mean, at this point, PACs can do whatever the fuck they want thanks to the federal government. At this point, we can coordinate. We can do all kinds of shit now. So, sure.
And now to what really
lit
you up on especially TikTok was the clip about the Nugget. Woven by Moonlight says, fun fact, there are 13 casinos across the state that use the word Nugget in their name. The word gold appears in the name of 12 casinos, 15 if you include Golden. So clearly, the idea of playing homage to Nevada's mining history was no brainer for so many casino owners. And while the names might be the same, each Nevada Nugget has its own story.
I love that. That's actually a fantastic freaking comment. Thank you for diving in and doing the Nugget research. I love that. What a great Nevada comment. So good.
And Woven by Moonlight also before that had said it's to pay homage to Nevada's mining history. Yeah. Yes. And a lot of people don't know about that and that it's still ongoing and one of Nevada's biggest industries. Out of 2.
And that they wrote themselves out of the Constitution when they created the Constitution for us to become a state in 1864. And the first time we ever really got to tax them was about 4 years ago. So, fun facts for everyone.
And Lindsay LaFay 8 says Wendover has a Nugget.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Also, I love that. I hope you're commenting from West Wendover or from Wendover. That's amazing. Hello, Wendover.
Yeah.
And yes, we know where Wendover is, and I've actually been to Wendover, and we knew your former mayor. So there's that.
Yes. And now to the question, staying on TikTok, to the question about how the hell did CD2 elect someone who's literally not from here at all? And out of Settlemyre, who's the most rural Nevadan. Yeah. And at MXJT says, this is such a shitty timeline to be living in. Yes, we live in the timeline where James Settlemyre was not CD2 enough for CD2, even though he's the most Nevadan person ever.
Every day I wake up in this timeline. I say exactly those words to myself. So yes, I agree.
And also, someone has a memory of our friend Settlemyre at Satire Riot on Instagram says, I remember cooking quite a few Rocky Mountain oysters that the senator brought in during session.
Cool.
That's really cool. That's fascinating.
For those who don't know what Rocky Mountain oysters are, Maria, would you like to tell everybody? Because some people may not know.
I don't know.
They're bull balls.
That's what y'all call them here. Okay. Bull balls. Yeah. That's, of course, very Nevadan, very
Rocky Mountain
oysters
are bull testicles.
I wonder if Flippo knows what that is.
Unless he's gone... listen, for all my beef with Adam Laxalt, which is a lot. The bull testicles, the Rocky Mountain oysters, are, probably brought in by the Basque, and it's a big thing in northern Nevada. And yeah, Adam Laxall has a cookout every year for him.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very northern Nevada tradition.
Now, I buried the lead because this really lit people up on TikTok. It was our conversation around Joe Lombardo, other than being apparently a terrible driver, is not a friend to labor. First, at RK Vegas. Picture looks familiar, but I can't figure out who you are. RK
I'm
Vegas.
sure we know them.
He says he's a friend of the people. Nevada leads the nation in job growth under Joe. Take your Democrat view somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the proof of that because there's not proof of it.
Yeah, lots of people laughing at the fact that people think he's a friend to labor. At S. Sanchez says he's a POS.
And he became even bigger one overnight. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
At Maxi Cat says, bless your heart. Well, if you're Southern and you say that with a Southern meaning, bless your heart back.
Also, defend your position. Don't just tell me to bless my heart. Defend your fucking position. Tell me some facts. Back it up with stats. Don't just come in and snark and then run away like a little pansy. Back your shit up if you want to have a debate. Come on. I hate these people on the internet.
Fucking
Like these
idiots.
little keyboard warriors. I'm like, okay, you want to have a debate? I'm all for it. I love to debate.
Yeah.
I was made to debate. But you're going to have to do a little better than bless your heart.
Yeah, Medi Patrick says the members of the PUC that Lombardo appointed keep letting NV Energy charge us however much they want, and Joe Lombardo is too bought out by corporate lords to do anything about it. I've called his office 3 times and can't seem to get anyone competent on the phone.
Sounds about right. And you're not going to find him out and about in public because he doesn't go to a lot of public events.
Yeah, and you won't find him hanging out at a red light because he just flies through them.
He runs right through.
At T Wed says, must be a service worker. You mean the largest industry in Nevada?
I'm actually not a service worker, but we know a bunch of them. We've been in politics for over 20 years, homie. And we've seen the way that Joe Lombardo moves in the legislature. We've seen the way he vetoes bills. We see the shit he does and doesn't support. And I can tell you with my whole chest, all confidence in the world, he is not good for Nevada workers, period.
Yeah.
Those same union workers. So let's just talk about one specific bill, shall we? Those same union workers who may or may not have negotiated in their contracts that they are able to take paid sick leave to care for an ailing family member, a sick child, take an ailing family member or sick child to the doctor. Under the current law, the way it's written, union workers on PLAs are not allowed to use their paid sick time the same way other employees in the state are covered by state law. We had a bill last session called King Care. I encourage you to Google it. AB 112, Huey Wynn's bill. I helped on it. Business and unions came together to negotiate on the bill. That bill would have ensured that union workers, despite their PLAs, despite their labor, their contracts and their labor agreements and the contracts that cover them, that state law would cover them so that they could use their sick time and not get in trouble by their employer to help a family member or a child. Your governor, your leader, your king, Joe Lombardo, vetoed that bill, and business had no problem with it. So you tell me again how pro-worker Joe Lombardo is. And I can think of about 75 other fucking bills he vetoed that also impacted Nevadans, everyday Nevadans, including union workers. He ain't good for workers.
Yeah,
Let us
he
debate.
Is awful. Also, someone that tried to contact their governor's office at D says, I sent him an email twice during the last few months, and he never even acknowledged.
Just shocked.
And for people that might be like, oh, well, he's the governor, they literally have staff. Every other elected official of both parties historically sends you something afterwards, like, thank you so much for writing it, we're going to take it. And then if the elected official themselves wants to respond personally, they say, but they have people review the mail, answer the phones, and at least acknowledge you called and thank you for calling, because that's a democracy.
I'm going to give you one small example of my own personal experience, and I know other people have others. On a regular basis, I have tried to invite the governor to just community events for various contracts that I have. So, for instance, our Lantern Festival we have for the Asian community every year. This is a nonpartisan event, no politics involved. It's a food festival. We invited the governor. Never heard back. Do you know who I can text on a regular basis if I have an event coming up and he responds every fucking time? Ford. Every time. Even if it's like stuff he doesn't want to hear. Even if it's criticism. And you can attest to this, Maria, because you saw it when we were at our other job. It didn't matter what the conversation was, even if it was a hard conversation, we always got a response. That is the difference. And that is a nonpartisan statement, because there are plenty of Republicans in the Nevada legislature that if I email them or I text them, I get immediate response because they are attentive and they talk to their constituents. They talk to the people of Nevada. This is a Joe Lombardo problem. This is not a partisan problem.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't acknowledge one of his own trying to enforce the law. At KT, not the people of Nevada, he has vetoed every bill that would have made things better for us. Healthcare, housing, education. It was his denial of an SOC that led our state computing systems behind being compromised and then didn't even show up for the public briefings, which is something that we talked about.
100%.
Which is interesting that partially it was his fault. Fascinating. He fired the water regulator and supports data centers jeopardizing our natural resources. Yes. He directed the state EPA to dismiss the fines for billionaires dumping chemicals and poisoning our first responders. We are last or almost last in affordability, housing, employment, and education. He is not your friend. Absolutely agree with you, KT.
Couldn't have said it better ourselves. And that water commissioner, that is a huge thing. And I know there's some folks online who have been talking a lot about it. Allison up north has been talking a lot about it. That water commissioner deal where he just went in and fired the water commissioner, I hope Ford uses that more because that is a big deal and not enough people are paying attention to it because the way it all went down is super fucking shady. And I have to guess, if I had to guess, mining might have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Very shady.
Very weird. RK Vegas again, who apparently doesn't have a life. And this is the last comment of his that I will read because there's a lot more. But I'll respond offline as well. He says, these are all things that the Democrats are feeding you. BS. Annette, get your Italian ready but he wrote veto wrong. He wrote it like an Italian name. Veto.
Like VITO.
Yeah, veto things that the Democrats wanted to push through, and they told you it's better because they are. That's the sad thing about Democrats. They believe every damn thing they're fed. You have no actual data that says anything that he did was against the people of Nevada. Well, billionaires were dumping chemicals, poisoning in our first responders.
Yeah, that was the Elon Musk and the boring situation that the governor waded into. It's like a whole news story. It's like a real thing.
Maybe he's the guy that told us not to worry about it. It's just the rocks.
We'll also say, so there's a lot of things I will admit I don't know. The bills that he vetoed, I am intimately aware of because I actually get paid to work on those things. So a lot of those bills I am intimately aware of. Not just because they're a talking point, not just because I was spoon-fed something, but because I actually had to run the fucking legislation with a legislator.
Yeah.
So, sure.
Sure. At Deep Space Fine says, and this will be our last comment, and I love that we're ending this, says, agreed. I hate that CCA endorsed him.
Thank you. What a great comment to end on. Very good, Internet. Good job today. For the most part, you actually knocked it out of the park this week, Internet.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. So, with that being said, and the internet leading us right into where we need to go, Maria, let's go into the local lowdown. Because there's some shit that's popped off in Nevada this week, and we're starting with the best chisme possible. We're going to start with the governor, because we were just talking a whole lot about Governor Joe Lombardo. So last night, I'm watching House of Dragons, because I had to catch up, because I was watching Love Island. And so I was like, okay, I got to 3 episodes of the House of Dragon because it's 3 hours long. That's a big investment of time. So I'm over there, I'm watching TV, scrolling the internet, and I get a text message. And it's a Channel 5 article from Fox 5 in Las Vegas, not some random internet thing. Fox 5 in Las Vegas has an article that Joe Lombardo got pulled over in May of 2026, and he got pulled over for running a red light because he did not yield at a turn, and it was one of those don't turn on red lights. Officer comes out of his vehicle, goes up to the window. He's on the passenger side window. We're going to show you the video in a minute, but I'm just setting the scene. Joe Lombardo's wife is in the passenger seat, poorly seatbelted. Joe Lombardo is driving. And the officer tells him, "Sir, do you know what you've done?" Blah, blah, blah. Typical traffic stop language. Joe Lombardo says, "I'm Joe Lombardo." And the officer says, "I'm aware." Subsequently gets out of the fucking ticket. Now, I have several questions that I want to pose to the universe and see if I can get an answer. But before we do that, and before we provide our hot takes on this entire thing, because I have many, I've been stewing on this all night. Let's roll the tape, just so the people know we didn't make this up. This is real body cam footage from Metro. Review Journal, not a liberal bastion of media, by the way.
Nope. On the Review Journal. All right. Let us watch, shall we?
Hello.
Yes.
How you doing, sir? Good. Sergeant Pacheco, Metro Police. The reason I'm stopping you is for I'm aware, for the red light violation back there. Your right turn onto Giles here. So you're good to go, sir. Appreciate you. Have a good day.
Okay. So, for folks that maybe were only listening, look at the way this guy, our governor, just goes, "Excuse me." He pulls
I'm
a
Joe
Karen.
Lombardo.
He pulls a Karen move. Joe Lombardo is a Karen. And goes, "Joe Lombardo?" And then look at his wife, who's like, "Excuse me?" Look at that face. She's like, "What does he mean you ran a red light?" While she literally barely has her seatbelt on.
Okay, so we got to talk about this because there are layers to this. First and foremost, the most obvious layer to this. What a fucking privilege it is to be the governor of a state, to be a white man, to be somebody who can use his name to get out of a traffic ticket with no problem. What a privilege it is to mouth off, because he did mouth off. I don't care what you say. I'm Joe Lombardo. I don't care if you're Jesus Christ, sir. You broke the law. You run on a regular motherfucking basis for office as the law and order candidate. On his signs, what does it say? We've talked about this before. Sheriff, governor, leader. Well, sir, if you're the sheriff, governor, leader, then maybe you should follow the laws of the state of Nevada. And for all, this is something else I've been stewing on all night, because as soon as it popped up that the right's beloved leader, their king, he broke the law. He got pulled over by the cops for running a red light, which, I'm sorry, is a serious infraction because it can hurt people. The first thing they brought up was, well, Steve Sisolak got into a fender bender.
No.
Okay.
Boy.
Steve Sisolak did get into a fender bender. To which I responded, why is the governor still driving himself around? He should have a driver. I will say that for Joe Lombardo as well. It is a safety thing. It is a focus thing. These elected officials should not be driving themselves around. They're doing 100 things during the day. They should not be driving themselves around. But also, it's an optics thing, because if your campaign person gets pulled over versus you, that won't be a story.
Right.
But for the right to bring up the fact that Sisolak got into a fender bender with something where he stayed on the scene, he made sure he took accountability. It was literally a minor traffic infraction, and he took accountability for it. To compare it to this, where he literally took zero accountability and used his privilege and his name to get out of it, spare me.
Yeah. And you know, when we talked about last week, for those of you that tuned in last week, that many think that this guy, Joe Lombardo, as he rightfully pointed to himself, regular people, especially that may be flagged for immigration, if they would have been caught like that, just simple, even if they were the most obedient, yes, officer, what is wrong, officer, they would have been in the hands of ICE by now, because that happened a lot during his watch. And then you take someone, any other person of color, even if they're a citizen of the United States, and they say something like, I'm this, or I'm this person, what would people have said? Like, oh, no, you don't, no one
They
is.
should have obeyed. They should have just
Mhm.
listened to the cop.
No
They
one's
should have
above the
done what they
law.
were told. Nobody's above the law. Well, nobody's above the law, Joe Lombardo.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff, leader, governor, you make the laws. You're not above them.
Yeah. And how many times, like you said, how many times for people that have been pulled over for running a red light or not yielding when a cop, especially if it's your first time, but you're obedient, and they say, you know what, I'm going to let you out without this. But I have to warn you that the reason why we have this is because people, you can get in an accident. People can get hurt.
It's an even bigger part of it, right? What about all the people who get pulled over in Las Vegas or in Nevada every single day who are accidentally, they miss a light or they miss a turn, it's an accident. Joe Lombardo didn't mean to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly he thinks he's above the law though.
Mm-hmm.
Random people who are just driving to and from work or going to pick up their kids at daycare and they get pulled over and they get a $200, $300 traffic infraction. In this economy or in any economy, that's a huge expense for somebody's budget. And then you add in the fact that there's fear involved. There's all kinds of other things involved. And those could go on to cause future problems for somebody, for their driving record, for their insurance, all kinds of stuff. And all Lombardo, our governor of Nevada, had to say is, I'm Joe Lombardo. And he was let go. What privilege, bless you.
Thank you.
But right, like it smacks of I'm above the law doesn't matter to me. And I really don't think, because it was caught on body cam footage, this is the biggest question I have. Who ratted Joe Lombardo out? Because that was a minor traffic infraction. That was something where the body cam footage obviously recorded it. And so I want to know how reporters got wind of the fact that he was pulled over, or if they were just doing a generic FOIA request from the police department and his name came up in the FOIA request. However it was found, great reporting and great journalism, because that's the kind of shit, that's the accountability we should be doing for all of our politicians, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're supposed to be working and living at a higher standard because they're supposed to be looking out for us and serving the people. And speaking of acknowledging people, notice how a trend in the chats, many people try to contact his office, no acknowledgement. You had the same thing, Annette. But the cop over here didn't even, the guy just said Joe Lombardo. He didn't even say, hello, officer, or hello, Steve, whatever his name was. Nothing. He just went directly to, I'm Joe Lombardo. Me. My privilege. Me. Get me out of this. Don't you know who I am? Abuse of power is what the queen says.
I love the queen is talking shit in the background. Not wrong. So, in case y'all thought we were making it up, we have showed you the video. It's all over. And apparently, well, not apparently, because it's real, because I saw it. It's on TMZ. It's gone to the national news now. People are talking about it. And I gotta say, I was cackling like a witch because all I did was put on the cops music to go along with my Facebook and Instagram post last night, because that motherfucker was on cops for the longest time.
Yeah.
And so I put the cops theme song on, since, he's
What
getting
you gonna
caught
do?
up in the law now.
What you gonna do? Raise a
When they
finger
come
and
for you. Joe
pull a Karen move.
Lombardo. I'm Joe Lombardo. Karen.
Do you know who I am?
Don't you know who I am? I'm Joe Lombardo.
I want him to meet a cop that's like,
I just want to be like,
no.
shame, shame,
Shame,
shame.
shame.
I hope Aaron Ford uses it in an ad, just on loop.
Joe 100%.
Lombardo, sheriff, governor, leader, and thinks he's above the law. Thinks he's better than you.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yep.
Anyways, so that's our Joe Lombardo story. That was popping off overnight. All right, let's talk about our dear friend Cisco Aguilar, Nevada Secretary of State, defender of our election system. defender of democracy here in Nevada. Lots to talk about this week. So the Nevada Secretary of State is firing back at the Trump administration because they are pushing for even more election changes. It's too much. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of drama going around on elections. The Trump administration is threatening everything from terrorism funding to, cutting this, cutting that, blocking this, blocking that from states all across the country. And Cisco has been pushing back. So Maria, take us through this and how Cisco Aguilar is defending democracy.
Yeah. So, all of those warnings, and it's every state. And by the way, they're also threatening because they're saying they could face criminal penalties.
Of course.
And so Cisco Aguilar basically dismissed the letter, and he has reiterated that Nevada especially has numerous safeguards to keep non-citizens from voting. What's even crazier is that this outlet that is reporting this, and we'll put the article, also interviewed DOJ staffer lawyer that from the civil, quote unquote, civil rights division that put this threat package together, Harmeet Dillon. And when Dillon was told about what Cisco Aguilar said and all the safeguards that we have in the state of Nevada, Dillon said she was not aware of Nevada's specific safeguards. Wild. If you're going to go around threatening our Secretary of State, wouldn't you want to know exactly what we have? And there was a formal response. And in that response, they reiterate that the state already has the safeguards and rules in place, and they've highlighted past and present compliance with federal and state laws. And Aguilar wrote, in each and every election, this office accomplishes the twin goals of guaranteeing eligible citizens' right to vote and protecting the integrity of that vote. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Fantastic job. And that is statewide, every county, every precinct, every city. And the fact that they're just issuing these threats without knowing or checking what states currently have just shows you what their real goal is, which is to prevent people from voting, especially certain people, aka not white men.
Yeah. So one of the things that I read, we'll see if this is true. So this is allegedly, nobody knows. Yesterday, Trump was pontificating about how he's going to do a speech this week on Thursday. By the time this airs, the speech will either be happening or have already happened, so we'll know what it's about. But just in case, because of a podcast taping early, there may be a speech, we don't know, that includes election integrity and election security on Thursday night, is what we're hearing, when he comes on live TV in the evening and pontificates whatever nonsense that's going to come out of his blathering mouth. That may be what he focuses on. So we'll see. I don't know. He has been on a roll the past couple of days, doing crazy shit, nonsense. We're going to talk about some more of that in a minute. So he may be ramping up around elections. We can see, some of the rhetoric has been ramping up over the past couple of weeks, especially around the housing bill. That housing bill, which is funny, kind of full circle moment, that housing bill ended up going into law, not because the Orange Menace signed it, but because he just let it go into law. Because Republicans are desperate to have a win on affordability and housing. So we shall see if it's on what he did with the housing bill, if that's what his speech is going to be about, if it's going to be about elections, if it's going to be his failed war in Iran, or if it's going to be some other nonsense that he conjures up over the next 2 days. We'll see what happens. It's only Tuesday when we're filming, so we'll see what happens on Thursday night.
We shall see. We shall see.
He drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. What else is going on, Maria? And by the way, that article about Nevada SOS fires back after Trump administration's pushes for more changes, that is on the NVND and their excellent reporting. So we'll put the link in the chat, but that's where that article came from.
Yeah. So to round us out, Nevada Republican candidates are largely mum on birthright citizenship. I never thought we would get to this point. That something pretty fucking basic.
Literally, the U.S. Supreme Court just upheld. Literally just happened. They said, yeah, it's an amendment in the Constitution. You should uphold this. That's a thing. So if you're out on the trail and you see candidates, Democrat or Republican, you should be asking them how they feel about birthright citizenship. 100%. So what people has the Nevada Current talked to? What Republican candidates have they been asking about birthright citizenship? I bet I can guess one.
Yeah. Well, they start off and This is a very interesting note because if people have seen, there's apparently a trend, a big problem in the Republican Party is actually because MAGA people have been getting in the local party apparatuses and taking over and changing the platforms, which Annette, I know that gives you PTSD. Party platforms. And that's how Nevada Current starts out with. The Nevada Republican Party, of which Lombardo is the figurehead, opposes Birthright Citizenship in its 2024 platform, which remains in effect following the GOP's failure to pass its 2026 platform at the state convention in May. It wasn't what was in the platform, it was just an issue of people feeling like there was a lack of representation, says Clark County Republican Party chairperson Jill Douglas. So basically, certain people want certain things to go through, is what that sounds like to me. And then, yes, Lombardo, Nevada Current, reiterates that Lombardo has long refused. Not like it's just no one's ever asked him, it hasn't come up. People have asked, and he has refused to state his position on birthright citizenship. For example, when Trump signed the executive order on the first day of his second term to restrict the right, Lombardo would not comment after calls and calls for comment. So that just goes to show you. And what Ford, on the other hand, says is Nevadans deserve better than Lombardo's subservience to Donald Trump. We need leaders who are unafraid to stand up for the rule of law and our most fundamental rights. And Ford noted that he, as in himself, Ford, took action to protect Nevadans from Trump's assaults on birthright citizenship as soon as it began. And for people that don't know, he's referring to a lawsuit that he and other attorneys general across the country filed on January 1st, 2025, which is what ended up going through the courts.
Because on a regular basis, Aaron Ford is doing the shit we need him to do to protect Nevadans from this administration. So I just want to put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
As I told somebody on the internet the other day, I don't need my governor to be perfect. He may not flip your dress up, and he may not be Mandami. I don't need perfect. I need somebody who's a decent, good human being who is going to protect us from the Trump administration. That is Aaron Ford. Anyways. Okay, Nevada's been a wild place the past couple of weeks. A lot going on. Just a lot of... And by the way, for those who are wondering, still no mention of special session. So for those who were on special session watch, it's not like we've forgotten about it. The governor just never did it. He was like, oh, Democrats said no, I'm just not doing it. So here we are. Wild time to be alive. So yeah, because fun fact... We're going to take a little break for summer the next couple of weeks. We'll be back in mid-August. Maria's got some travel coming up. I have a bunch of campaigns that I'm getting off the ground. So we're going to take a little breaky break like we always do over the summer. Much shorter this year since it's an election year and there's a lot of stuff popping off. But there's going to be, by the time we come back, we'll be in the thick of campaign season. Things are going to be ramping up. Schools will be back in session. And the heated issues are going to be coming up like data centers. That's going to remain a topic, right? There's actually an op-ed in the Indy today. Sorry, Governor. This is by John L. Smith. Sorry, Governor, but citizens remain heated up about data centers. Yeah, those are going to be the issues that we're going to be continuing to watch. And the election season is going to start to ramp in August. So get ready, everyone, because I think the next couple of weeks it might be calm and cool and collected, and then it's going to get busy. So there's going to be a lot to talk about in Nevada.
Yeah.
A lot of important races. All right, well, let's move to WTF is happening in the world, because there's a lot going on there too. So last week, it felt like last month. Last week in this section, we ended with Death Watch 2026. Because we were like, is Mitch McConnell alive? Isn't he alive? Is he on his deathbed? Isn't he on his deathbed? The Republicans were being real shady about it, right? Since then, apparently, I'm still not convinced, there has been a proof of life photo from the hospital from Mitch McConnell propped up next to his wife, looking rough. So, still unclear to the voters of Kentucky and the U.S. taxpayers whether or not we are paying a dead man. We don't know. And that is a huge transparency problem from the Republicans and the United States government. But Death Watch heated up over the weekend, and it was unexpected. Lindsey Graham, friends. Lindsey Graham.
Death Watch struck.
tear. Apparently, I read somewhere, and this is horrible. He had called a friend who was like a medical professional or something like this. Calls a friend and was like, well, should I go to the doctor? I'm having like these symptoms, blah, blah, blah. This is like earlier in the day on Saturday or whatever this happened. And he was like, should I go? Should I not go? And the friend's like, yeah, you should probably go and get checked out. He never went. And what he said back to the friend, again, this is apparently, I read this in an article. He said to the friend, well, it's not like I'm going to die.
Bro, but you did.
But you did. So I guess this is my message to all of you out there who are experiencing aches, pains, heart conditions, whatever. Please go to the doctor and get checked out. Don't just assume you're not going to die, because Lindsey Graham did that, and here we are. And that's horrible. So
She just fucking died.
just up and died. I don't have much to say about Lindsey Graham.
No,
That's all.
no, she's dead. That's all we gotta say.
She's dead. Apparently, they're filling the spot with his sister. Did you see that? I mean, I guess it's better than Nancy fucking Mace, but they're going to appoint, this is according to another article I read earlier in the week. Well, it's like Tuesday, so who the fuck knows? So time is not a thing anymore. Apparently, they're going to appoint Lindsey Graham's sister to fill the position for the rest of his term.
Yeah.
I mean, she's probably just as heinous as Lindsey Graham, so that apple probably didn't
100%.
fall far from that tree. So
No, it's probably they're all the same.
literally.
Runs in the family.
Horrible knows horrible. So anyways, my mom always said if I don't have anything nice to say, I shouldn't say anything at all, so I won't.
Yep. Moving on to other things.
We'll keep you posted on Death Watch. Maybe by the time we come back in August, we'll have updates. Who knows? All right. So this next topic, there's been a lot of horrible news this week. We had the young man in Mississippi that was murdered, in my humble opinion, on the island. Young black man, just an incredible young man who was left behind by his friends on an island, passed away over the 4th of July holiday. Anyone who with a brain should be suspicious of this whole thing. It's a horrible, horrific story. You have 2 men, one in Houston, yesterday one in Maine, who were murdered by ICE again. So we're back to the murders by ICE happening once again more frequently, because these 2 men had no criminal records. They were not doing anything wrong. In Houston, they flat out said they got the wrong guy, shot him, stole his fucking ID, and kept shooting, apparently. Mexico, the government of Mexico is now filing charges against the United States, as they should. Gentleman yesterday who was shot and killed was just in the wrong place. His daughter and his wife were in the car. He was a Colombian man. So ICE is out here murdering people. We've got young black men being killed. Horrific shit happening all over this country. And I don't know if it feels like this to you, but to me, it's just like a barrage of just horrific, shitty news constantly. And it's been that way, obviously, for a long time. It's been that way. We feel it all the time. But, I just have to acknowledge, what the past week and a half has been for just murder after murder after murder, death after death, of just bad, horrible shit happening to people in this country. Thanks to the United States government, in large part. So before we get into the next story, I had to say that because I don't want to trivialize the shit that's going on. So this next story that we have is one that hits near and dear to our heart. When we were in our former job, we did a tremendous amount of, it was one of the biggest things we worked on, and it was our national monuments in this country. And again, compared to the stories I was just talking about, this seems trivial, but it's not trivial. Trump tried to overturn all of the national monuments in his first term. He did it in front of a Teddy Roosevelt statue in the Oval Office, or in the White House, and he stood next to Ryan Zinke and tried to literally overturn the Antiquities Act, piece by piece. For those who don't know what the Antiquities Act is, it was put in by Teddy Roosevelt, and if I move this computer screen that direction, you see the shrine to Michelle Obama and Teddy Roosevelt's over here. Because of his work on conservation, because of his work on national parks, national monuments, Teddy Roosevelt put the Antiquities Act in place for the United States government to be able to designate exceptional, amazing, incredible places as national monuments to protect those areas for future generations. During our time at our old job, we worked on 4 designations in the state of Nevada. So Tule Springs National Monument, which is right here in Vegas, actually right over by where Maria lives. We worked on Basin and Range National Monument, which is kind of in the middle of the state. We worked on Gold Butte National Monument, which was the heaviest lift. That's the national monument down by where the Bundys live, right outside of Mesquite, near Valley of Fire. One of the most incredible special places on earth. And then we worked on Aviquame National Monument. This is the painting from that designation. And that is down at the southern tip of southern Nevada, right outside of Searchlight. And it's just an incredible place with ancient Joshua trees and things like that. And we designated those places because they need to be protected. They need to be protected from development, like airports, like we talked about last week. They need to be protected from development of any kind, mining, resource grabbing. That is what a national monument protects, these culturally sensitive, culturally important areas. And most of the time, they are sensitive to indigenous communities or communities of color. Like, there's so many places in this country that have been designated as monuments. It's just incredible. So, long story short, today, of all the days, I open my social media and it's Donald Trump signing executive orders to reduce the size of 3 very, very critical and important monuments in Utah. So, Maria, do you want to talk about those monuments, why they're so special, and what it means to minimize those, especially to our tribal communities?
Yeah, so the ones that we are talking about is Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante, which for people that might be nerds like us and were around for the first time, and aware for the first time, I believe those were also part of the first attempts to reduce, to completely cancel out. And the reason why, there's various reasons why these are so important. One, because many, if not most of these, just generally, but especially these 2, are very sacred to indigenous tribes of the area and need to be preserved. And they have asked to preserve them because many of them still use these spaces for rituals, for different, especially, funeral gatherings, for different medicinal issues, and just generally, maybe we shouldn't fuck with their land anymore. And then the other one is that most of these places are in places like Utah, Nevada, Arizona, where you can have a lot of resources, natural resources. And like we learned previously last week, people that want those natural resources are willing to do almost anything to get them. So you can build a data center, so you can frack, so you can put whatever kind of mine you want, whatever natural resource you want to get out of there, they will figure it out. The only way to make sure that doesn't happen is through making areas national monuments if you really need to protect them. That's why this is so crucial, because it's a way of also stopping these greedy corporations from encroaching on land that is also sacred.
So these 2, so Bears Ears and Grand Staircase, what do they have in them other than the stuff that Maria talked about? So ancient cliff dwellings, they have petroglyphs, scenic canyons, but they also have coal and uranium deposits that state officials want made available for development. So the real question becomes are we going to sacrifice these sacred, important areas, these culturally and significant, land areas? Are we going to sacrifice that when we have a rich history of protecting those special areas in this country for coal and uranium deposits? Now, Donald Trump and the Republicans, they issued proclamations under the Antiquities Act to reduce the size by about 90% each. So it's a huge swath of land that we're talking about. So they're dramatically decreasing these. Now, why not just get rid of them? Why did Donald Trump not just get rid of them, Maria? Why did he reduce the size but not get rid of them? Do you remember?
No, remind me.
So the Antiquities Act, when it was put in place by Theodore Roosevelt, this is brilliant, by the way, he put in a mechanism where you can declare a national monument under the Antiquities Act if you prove that there are antiquities there, present on the land. But there is no mechanism in there to roll back a national monument. So you can reduce the size, but you cannot do away with a national monument completely. That is why when they were going through this extensive review process under the first Trump administration in 2017, this all happened. They could not do away with the 20-something national monuments because there is no mechanism to do away with them. And then there was huge campaigns to keep these in place. So that is why he's focusing on these two. And that is why he's just reducing the land size rather than getting rid of them altogether, because there's no mechanism in there to do that, thanks to Teddy Roosevelt.
Thank you, Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, foresight, right? So this has been a really important thing, too, because Trump and other Republicans, and by the way, this is an article in the Seattle Times, but it's a Associated Press article. This is the latest move by Trump and other Republicans have drastically reshaped the management of vast taxpayer-owned lands concentrated in western states because we have the biggest land masses out west. The Trump administration officials and congressional Republicans have sought to expand drilling, mining, and logging on public lands while removing protections for imperiled species and rolling back rules for conservation. And we keep seeing this week after week. They've just been decimating these rules. Now, much like what happened last time, the hope is that they don't get very far down the road, and whoever becomes the next president, if we have a 2028 election, can put these protections back in place. Because the one thing that we can be thankful for, that I think our forefathers did a little bit right, was make government slow and make these processes slow. But as we've seen with Doge, this stuff has been sped up under this Trump administration. And the damage is already being done to federal employees, to institutions, to really important programs. And so we have to make sure we're keeping our eye on these types of things, because it's going to be devastating for those really important environmental areas and those culturally significant areas. So as you can see, this is something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah. It's one of those things that people might say it's not that important, but it's very
Oh,
important.
it's so important. It's one of the, we talk a lot of shit about this country, rightfully fucking so. Right? We hold this country accountable. We hold our elected officials' feet to the fire. But I will say, one of the things we do best, I think, in this country, minus the stolen land part of this, is historically we've also protected big swaths of land, national parks, national monuments. We've tried to have open spaces, especially in the West, that people, the public, can go out and enjoy. It's why a lot of us live in the West. And this is going to do harm to that. And so people need to pay attention to this, especially in the context of the data center conversation and the mining conversation and extraction of resources conversation, because we also don't have the water to do that mining. So people need to be paying attention to this.
Yeah. Because ultimately, while us humans are fucking about in the world, leading to all the stories that Annette mentioned of murder, abuse, Joe Lombardo being a Karen, the only thing that's truly permanent, if we can help it, are, for example, the mountains I'm looking at outside of this hotel room.
Because her air conditioner went out.
Because my AC is out. Because Mother Nature ultimately is the real boss. But that is ultimately all that we really have, is what's natural and what's around us.
When I read it this morning, I remember the first time he did it, and we were at work, and I saw it happen, and I was so upset because we had just done 4 of those campaigns. And if you've never been in that space, right, it's not like a regular political campaign. These are like really important, special, sacred, just wonderful campaigns. You learn so much about the land, and you learn to appreciate our land in Nevada so much more. And I remember how devastated I was that day, because it just felt like he was just coming for our work. And it was really kind of the first big attack on some shit we had done, because it was early in that administration. Now we're just used to it, and I'm kind of desensitized to the whole, like, he's just ruining everything. But when I saw it this morning, it instantly pissed me off. So all right, speaking of failure and all the things that Trump touches failing, let's talk about Donald Trump and Iran, because pinky promises apparently still don't work.
That was all over. I thought everything was fine.
It's fine, Maria. Iran's over. We have a ceasefire. I saw a meme the other day that said, what does a ceasefire cease if a ceasefire doesn't cease fire? So as we are talking right now, 7:09 on Tuesday, June Tuesday, July 14th, on CNN as we speak, it says, U.S. carries out more strikes on Iran and begins blockade of ports. I thought it was over, everyone. I thought we figured this out. The Strait of Hormuz was open. Iran was done. We got this in the bag. We pinky promised.
We sent the right people down to clean this up.
J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller, a.k.a. Goebbels, had it all figured out for us. We're good. What happened?
Yeah, we're good.
What happened?
I don't know.
I mean, it is a Tuesday, so it's like Taco Tuesday for Donald Trump. Every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday for Donald Trump.
Oh, my gosh.
So, since this is all kind of blown up for the 400th time, because nothing Donald Trump does is real or right, and let us remind you, for revisionist history purposes, if somebody tells you this wasn't Donald Trump's fault, they're lying to you. Donald Trump started this mess. So, in the past week, he has said he's going to take over the Strait of Hormuz, which I have to remind people, sovereign country doesn't just get to take over places in the world, even though he thinks he can. He was flying back from Turkey on his gifted plane, couldn't use it coming back because it doesn't have the right technology to keep him safe, and the communications aren't secure on it. And then Israel comes out and says, oh my God, Donald Trump, Iran is plotting to kill you. Be careful. And the American public was like, huh. And I don't think Israel thought that I don't think they got the response everybody thought they were going to get, but whatever. So Donald Trump then says, I'm going to bomb you, and I give him permission to obliterate you with bombs if you assassinate me.
Okay.
So now Trump is also threatening to strike Iranian power plants and bridges, a negotiating tactic that he's used before, apparently, which clearly works so well. Apparently, Iran went on to, because we've been bombing Iran went on to bomb Bahrain. Now, Bahrain was like, well, we're going to have to take some measures, and we're going to have to cancel the next F1 race because clearly we can't do nice things here because the United States keeps fucking around. And Israel keeps meddling and everything. Today, though, the Democrats, we'll see how long this lasts because I don't give the Democrats much hope on any of this. Apparently, the Democrats blocked a funding bill for Iran, or not for Iran, sorry, for Israel. Sorry. So they blocked that bill because they needed 60 votes, and they did not get to the 60 votes. So we'll see how that all pans out. But yeah, it's still a hot mess express that Donald Trump created.
Yeah. For the people that say not his fault, whatever, these kinds of things are all on the president. It's all about what the president does, what he says, who he sends to negotiate, how he responds, the people that work in the State Department. It is all. This is actually one of the places where you can't blame Congress. You can't blame whoever. It's all the White House. And who leads the White House? The president.
100%. Yeah, so that's a hot mess express. It's just such a joke at this point. And, innocent people are the ones who are truly being impacted. I mean, Iran is not innocent in all this. Israel is definitely not innocent in all this. The United States is definitely not innocent in all this. But, Donald Trump is the root cause of all of these problems, at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's so gross. So by the time we come back, we'll probably still be at war. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it'll get worse. Or we won't even have a podcast because who knows what the fuck's going to happen. Because the petulant child, Donald Trump, who throws rocks at babies, will probably make this problem worse by the time we come back in August.
Yeah. Watch out. We will actually probably go back to just having rocks as our tools.
I guess here's the one thing, and this kind of goes back to Ukraine, right? Because now we're talking about Iran. We still have the mess in Ukraine, which, by the way, Trump said would end on day one. He hasn't done shit.
That's still going.
That's the other thing we forgot to talk about. We totally forgot to talk about when Trump met with Zelensky from Ukraine last week, called him Putin while he was sitting there because his dementia, Donald Trump's dementia kicked in.
Wrong Vladimir, my guy.
Wrong Vlad. And then said the Islamic Republic of Japan? I forgot about that national embarrassment because it's been a long week. There's been a lot of national embarrassments happening.
But Joe Biden was the problem.
Yeah, sure. I will say, okay, so I didn't have anything nice to say about Lindsey Graham earlier because he's done a lot of horrible shit. But, though, maybe one of the only things I did agree with him on is Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an ally to Ukraine. And he had just visited Kyiv before he died.
Yes.
Which is very interesting.
Mm.
So,
yeah.
I will say, I do think Ukraine is going to be in a worse shape now that Lindsey Graham is dead. Because I do think Lindsey Graham was the fuckface whisperer to Donald Trump when it came to talking sanity on Ukraine. Because I will say, Lindsey Graham is one of like 100 and something officials that is banned from going to Russia, and they have an arrest warrant out for him and all that, because he has been an ally to Ukraine. So listen, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Exactly.
One of the last things we'll talk about is the Israeli settlers attacking journalists, but they also apparently attacked Congressman Ro Khanna last week as he was driving in an envoy around Israel. So a whole bunch of shit is popping off also in Israel. We cannot forget to talk about that. And again, all of this stuff is being made worse by our childlike, abysmal foreign policy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So with that, it's been a busy week, Maria.
It sure has.
There's been a lot going on. Before we go, by the time this airs, we'll be close to the FIFA World Cup finale.
Yeah.
We now know the United States was kicked out after Donald Trump meddled in the shit with FIFA. So good riddance. Your team, you are sporting your jersey. Show it off.
Yes.
Talk about it. Who is going to the final and what are we waiting on? By the time we get to posting this, we'll know. We'll know.
La Roja is going. Yes. And that is Spain. This is the jersey from the 2010 World Cup when they won. They beat France today. And not just
Always a win.
won, but they walloped France. I mean, everybody was talking about how, oh my God, France is so amazing, best team in the world. They could whatever. That France did not show up today. Mbappe has been sent packing, or Mbappe as you call him. And it was 2-0. And it was absolutely incredible to watch while I worked. Very stressful. But they're going to the final. And it is going to be against whoever wins in tomorrow's Argentina versus England game, which either way, it's going to be fucking amazing. But yeah, very, very, very excited. I Don't Want to Be French. People took Lady Gaga's song from Bad Romance, that part where she says, I don't want to be friends. And they started saying, I don't want to be French, which, of course, who wants to be French?
Right.
And also, today is Bastille Day, so they literally lost on their national holiday. They got asses kicked by the Spanish.
Listen, that's great. So who might they play? Because there's still one more game to figure out who's going to be in the final.
Either England or Argentina. They play tomorrow. Those two play tomorrow. And honestly, it could be
Could
either
go
one.
Either way.
Because England has been playing well. Fuck Harry Kane, side note, but like Jude Bellingham, never count him out. But Argentina has Messi, and you never know. So we'll see.
Cool. I love it. Well, good luck, Spain. I'll be rooting for Spain if England gets in. I'll just say that now. Otherwise, I can't root against Messi because I just love him. But I'll let Nick choose who he roots for.
He can have his own opinion.
Apparently, I guess.
And then France and whoever loses tomorrow's game plays for third place.
Yeah. Okay. All that being said, it's been a long, crazy week. Let's go into the final bell. Any hot takes, headaches, conversations you'd like to go before we take a few weeks off and take a little break?
Headache? Vegas summer is the headache.
Yeah, your AC is your headache.
Yeah. Hot take is, I think this World Cup, especially the Spanish team, proves while everyone else might be talking about other teams or other whatever, sometimes it's best to put your head down and hustle and prove people wrong, because now all of a sudden people are like, oh, they're a really good team. Yeah, that's what real soccer fans have been saying for a long, long time. They're a real good team. Their midfielders are some of the best.
Yes. God. Okay. My thing I'm most happy about this week. Love Island ended on Sunday. My two that I wanted, Bryce and Trinity, won. was very excited about that. So good on ya, Love Island. Y'all picked the right one. I'm excited about it. We'll see the reunion at the end of August, so I'll report back on that. And let's see, hot take or headache. I decided to buy a giant skeleton for my home for Halloween. For those who don't know, I love Halloween. It lights up, but it is gigantic. It's probably as tall as me. And Nick and I had to rent a storage unit to store it. This is how dedicated I am. Now, the next thing that we will be acquiring is this little Bumble right here, but in giant, the abominable snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, his nickname. I will be purchasing that for Christmas. So now the storage unit will have 2 large Christmas and Halloween decorations in it because we couldn't put it in the garage. So now all of my closets are being cleaned. The garage is being organized in the storage unit. My husband's having a field day with this.
That's
You know how he is.
Yeah, wow, that is going to be the most organized storage unit of all time.
Labeled, I mean, it was already organized in the garage, but now he's like, let's clean it out. Let's give ourselves more space. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever you want.
Okay, Psycho. That's going to be great.
So anyway, yeah, that's that. So that's all I got. So next month, we will be back mid-August. So stick around, friends. More to come for the election season. We're not leaving you. We're just taking a small break. And yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your enemies. Share with Joe Lombardo. Make sure you're following along with all the stuff we have. We have a lot coming up for the fall. So stick around. We'll be back in mid-August, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And remember to follow us on our socials. Try to put a few clips to tide you by in between. Maybe some unaired things. Not unaired, but, unclipped things out there. And yeah, we'll see y'all. If we have, internet and a world.
Earth.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see y'all in August, everyone. Have a great break and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.